my name is Erin. I'm a wife and a mom of 3 girls and an unexpected homeschooler, if you will. I actually have a background in high school education, and I never planned on homeschooling my kids. Now, I knew I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I always had a passion for that, but I never planned on homeschooling. In fact, my husband and I, before we had kids, we moved into a better subdivision, a better area to send our kids to school. But as soon as I got pregnant with our oldest, my mom started talking to me about homeschooling, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I really didn't. And she had always said, had she known what she knows now about homeschooling, she would have homeschooled my brother and I. And I still was like really skeptical, and I didn't really engage her in conversation about it, and my husband and I weren't really on board. But I started doing my own research and talking to other moms through social media who homeschooled. And I started to gather information, learned a lot from them, and I learned so much that I just became overwhelmed. There was so much information. I thought, where do I begin? How do I even start? Which curriculum do I use? And how much time of the day does it take? And how am I gonna make sure that my kid has the right information that they need? And I just became very overwhelmed. And my husband and I were also worried about, the standard questions about socialization, right? And we just didn't know where to begin. But through that time, the Lord just kept working on my heart, worked on my husband's heart, kept opening doors and putting people in our life that we could ask questions about. And the Lord really narrowed it down. By the time my oldest was into kindergarten, he really narrowed it down to a couple options. Now, our oldest went to half-day kindergarten, because half-day kindergarten I was okay with because it was only like 2.5, 3 hours, but I really wasn't ready to send my kid to full day for first grade. I just wasn't. And I didn't know if that meant like I was a weak mom, that I couldn't suck it up and do it because all these other moms do it. But I just really felt like, I don't know if I can do this. So when she was in kindergarten, the Lord really placed a couple people in our life that really narrowed down curriculum choices for us to help me get started. One was a family at our church, and she does the K-12 program. Another was a couple friends that were brought into my life who do classical conversations. And I really thought if I went to homeschool, I really didn't want to do a public school curriculum. There was nothing wrong with her curriculum. I just thought I wanted to do something a little different. So the Lord blessed us with an opportunity to go to a local classical conversations campus, because they meet once a week, and they needed somebody to work in the nursery. And they said, well, if you bring your daughter, she can come check out the class. And this was started in like January. She can come check out the class if you work in the nursery. And I'm like, okay. So this totally was a God thing, because she was in half-day kindergarten, and this campus where they met was at a church right across the street from her elementary school. Had it been anywhere else, this never would have worked. But we were able to take her once a week in the morning to this classical conversations group, and then we ate lunch, and then I drove her across the street to her half-day kindergarten class. She loved it. Now, my oldest is very much a homebody, and she did ask to be homeschooling, so that gave me another nudge to like start looking at it. And we were really impressed. We loved the campus. I loved that she had a community. I loved the things that she was learning. She was learning things that I didn't know or didn't remember, and it was fun. We had a nice time. So that gave me the confidence to move into first grade and to homeschool her, because with this classical conversations curriculum, I felt it laid out the curriculum for me, that I could just walk right into it and teach her that. Because as a teacher myself, I knew there was no way I was putting together lesson plans every day. Not gonna happen, right? Overwhelming, too much, trying to follow the standards of every state, like it's not gonna happen. So this classical conversations, made it very easy for me to follow a curriculum. And some of the best advice I ever got was, your first year, keep it simple. Keep it super simple. Don't try to do too much. Don't try to overwhelm yourself. Little bits at a time. And that has helped me tremendously, because then every year as I get a little bit more comfortable, we can add something else in that I would like to look into. But the layout of that curriculum, and the fact that she would have friends and a place to meet, right? Because socialization is one of the things that people talk about all the time. And then as a homeschooling mom, you start to realize how much socialization you actually do have. Even if you're not doing a co-op group, there's so many things that you go out and do. Homeschooling isn't just for at home, right? There are field trips you go on, places that you go. And the one thing that I really like about homeschooling is I find that my kids interact more with adults in everyday life, which is the kind of socialization I want them to have, not necessarily the socialization of their peers in a public school. Personal opinion. But I was really excited to have this guide of curriculum to follow, and I will tell you more about that in the weeks to come. And then I will also tell you about more about the English and the math program that we use that I absolutely love. But homeschooling for us was a godsend. I mean, I was nervous at first, wasn't sure if I really wanted to do it, and my husband said to me at one point, you know what? We started her in first grade. He's like, you can't screw up first grade. And if for some reason it doesn't work, we can always send her to school. So having that reassurance and knowing like there were other options if this didn't work for us helped me relieve the pressure to know where we were going to be going with this. And then once we started and got through our first year, it was great. I loved it. She learned a lot. I learned a lot. It was a lot of fun. I will tell you, not every day is easy as a homeschooling mom. Like, don't get me wrong. There is never a perfect day when things go perfectly correct. But I will tell you, the opportunity to spend that time with my kids, even though sometimes my kids don't want to do school, right? They're still kids. That quality time that I get with them to educate them and spend that one-on-one time with them, to me is going to be priceless. In my life, I will never regret homeschooling and being at home and spending that time with my kids. Never. I just couldn't imagine sending my kids somewhere where another teacher got to be with them the majority of the day. That was heartbreaking for me. And the fact that I really felt like God laid that on my heart to give it a try and to try it was a huge blessing, and I'm so glad that we're doing it. So I'm here to support you and guide you in your homeschooling journey, figuring out if this is for you, and I'm excited for you to check out the other videos that I will be doing, and I will talk to you guys soon. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I would be happy to answer any questions you have, and make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, you subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.